Pushpendra Pradap, please define surface charge density. Come on.
Sir, it is charge per unit area.
Of course. Can you give the equation for that? Can you give the equation for linear charge density? Come on.
Charge upon area.
Please, I am asking you, give the equation, give the formula.
Charge upon unit area.
Yeah, that's a definition. I am asking you the equation. There's an equation with a symbol, right? It is denoted by the symbol sigma. So sigma is equal to, like that you have to give the equation. Please give the equation. Come on.
So sigma upon charge upon area. So sigma equal to charge upon area.
Please, hey, you have to, when you are asking for an equation, please give the equation in terms of symbols, not in the term of statements, right?
Yes,
Give the equation, that is sigma is equal to dash by dash. That symbol I want, symbol.
so Q upon A.
Okay, but normally we will define delta Q by delta S, right? Okay, Q upon A, you can define like that also. If Q is the charge and it is concentrated on an area A, you can define Q by A also. But normally we will consider for small area. That's why delta Q by delta S or delta A also you can tell. There's no issue. For that, I don't insist. Okay. Okay. Good. So, I am asking. Hey, Vidit Pandey, can you define volume charge density? Vidit Pandey.
Yes, sir. So volume charge
density and give its equation also like this. What is volume charge density and give its equation also? Come on.
So volume charge density is charge per unit volume, and its equation is rho is equal to delta Q by delta V.
Great. So, Pragar Pandey, can you give the equation for electric field in terms of volume charge density? Pragar Pandey, that I have discussed, right? Pragar Pandey, can you give the equation for volume charge density? Sorry, equation for electric field in terms of volume charge density.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, come on.
Sir, delta E equals to
please don't
1
look
by
at
4
the
pi
notebook, okay? Please don't look at the notebook. Come on.
Sir, delta E equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. So Q by R square is there, but in terms of Q, we will place rho into delta V. So it will be like this: 1 by 4 pi. 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught.
Yeah.
Rho into delta V by R square.
Yeah, it's great. I am happy today, actually. Since you are answering the questions, I am happy. So actually, still some students are not only 11 students are only joined. Okay, what to do? So I can start, right? Because time is less. I can start, and what I can do is I will repeat when others join. Okay. Tell others to join immediately. Okay. We don't have enough time to waste. Okay, if you go like this, we can finish within this week. I will finish the first chapter. So listen one thing. Today I will share the scanned copy of, actually in the Gauss's law of electrostatic, there are 3 or 4 applications. In the first scanned note that first photostat note that I have given you, it contains only 1 application. Remaining 2 applications is there in the next scanned copy. So today I will share that the scanned copy of the first chapter itself, first chapter of electrostatic itself, which is the last 2 application of Gauss's law. Okay, that I will share today. Please take a printout immediately and keep it with you. Okay, so that we can, once we finish this first application, we start the next application after the class test. So did you remember this Wednesday, coming Wednesday is your next class test, or we can put it on Thursday also, right? We can put it on Thursday. Okay. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we can take the class, and on Thursday we can fix the exam, class test, up to whatever I teach up to Wednesday. Am I clear to you? Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, whether my sound is audible to you now and whether I am the screen is visible to you, right? Both. Is it okay today?
Yes, sir.
So we can start. So Gauss's law in electrostatics. As I already told you, when a definition or law comes, first it is better to remember the equation. From that equation, we can expand the definition. That is my idea for memorizing. So actually, Gauss's law in electrostatics relates the total electric flux. So what is total electric flux? What is total electric flux? Anyone? What is electric flux? Anyone? Please. What is electric flux?
Charge by epsilon 0.
Come on, respond fastly.
The total number of electric lines of force passing through unit area of a surface.
Yeah. Passing through unit area, still one point is not coupling. Passing through unit area.
Perpendicular to it.
Perpendicular to it.
See,
Perpendicular to it.
look at,
Yes,
look
sir.
at my hand. Perpendicular to surface. Passing through. If this is surface, it will pass through the surface perpendicular to it through unit area of the surface. Means consider 1 meter square area of the surface. And if it is passing perpendicular to that surface, that total number of electric lines of force is called electric flux. So simply means it is the total number of electric lines of force passing perpendicular through unit area of a surface. So simply electric flux means electric lines of force. So simply electric flux means it's electric field itself, because electric field is represented by using electric lines of force. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So then look at the equation. Here phi is the electric flux. See here what they have done. We have to find out the total electric flux. So before that, I told you simply electric flux is the electric lines of force. Electric lines of force is actually electric field itself. So we can write E dot ds. Why dot ds? Because E dot ds minus EDS cos theta. Here, what is actually electric flux? If simply speaking, it is the electric lines of force passing through unit area, right? So if ds is a small area, then the electric lines of force passing through the ds area is E into ds. Okay? Then why we have taken E dot ds? Because every time the electric lines of force may not be perpendicular to surface. It may be sometimes inclined. The surface is inclined and the electric lines of force is passing through like this. So it will be making an angle theta. And the horizontal component of that vector in the horizontal direction, that is why that cos theta come into picture. Why we are doing like that? Because every time it may not be perpendicular. Sometimes it may be inclined in so many directions. So in order to generalize it, we are taking it as EDS cos theta. Am I clear? I have taught you in physical class. Am I clear?
Sir, take some of the students in, they are waiting outside.
Waiting, but it is not showing in my. Okay, wait. Okay.
So, but they message.
Yeah, but it is not showing in my. That's why today I don't know. Wait. Yeah, okay. Sorry. It is there. Okay, we can continue. So Gauss's law simply relates Gauss's law in electrostatics. You should tell Gauss's law in electrostatics. Why? Because there is in there is one topic called magnetism there. Magnetostatics is there. In magnetostatics also there is Gauss's law. Therefore, this is Gauss's law in electrostatics. Please, while answering the final question in final exam, please be very careful whether it is Gauss's law in electrostatics or whether there is Gauss's law in magnetostatics. Okay. So here, simply Gauss's law relates the electric flux with the charge. See, from the equation, this is the equation for Gauss's law. So here phi is the electric flux, and see Q by epsilon 0 is the utmost right hand side. Here Q is the charge, epsilon 0 is the permittivity of free space that I have taught you. So it simply relates the total electric flux and the charge enclosed by the surface. And see here what you have done. E dot ds. What does it mean? It is EDS cos theta. Actually, simply electric flux is the total number of electric lines of force passing perpendicular through unit area of a surface. Okay. So it simply means electric flux is the total number of electric lines of force itself. So it is the electric field itself. Electric flux is simply the electric field itself, because electric field is represented by using electric lines of force. That is why phi is equated to electric field. But see, first we are considering that the electric flux passing through unit area. So if the electric flux passing through the ds area is how it is obtained, E into ds, right? So phi is the electric flux, and which is the electric lines of force. And the electric lines of force simply the electric field itself. That's why phi is equated with the electric field. But it is the electric flux passing through, electric lines of force passing through unit area. So the electric flux passing through ds area will be, electric flux passing through ds area will be E into ds. But why we have taken E dot ds? It is E dot ds in the equation. It is known as E dot vector ds. It means that it is EDS cos theta. Why? Because every time the surface may not be perpendicular, it may be inclined. So it will be making a particular angle theta with the direction of electric lines of force. So we have to find the component of that electric lines of force in the perpendicular direction. But that's why that EDS cos theta come into picture. This I have already taught actually this equation. In order to find the total electric flux, we have to multiply E dot ds, and then we have to integrate. See here, this is the integration symbol. I told you previously what is simple integration. Simply integration means we have to take summation. See, consider a surface area or a surface, a two-dimensional surface. So normally what we will do, we will, in order to find out, here we have to find out the total electric flux, right? So in order to find out the total electric flux of that total surface, what you have to do, we will divide that total surface into small area, and then we find out the electric flux passing through each that small surface, and then we will integrate. See here, that small surface is ds. So we have to find out the electric flux passing through each small surface area ds. Then we will simply add them up. Each we have to find out the electric flux passing through each small surface area ds. Then we will add the electric flux of each surface in order to get the total electric flux passing through the total surface. Instead of doing that, integration helps you. This integration helps you to find out the total electric flux within a second, within a fraction of a second, using the mathematical formula. Okay, I'm not going to in depth into the integration, but did you got the idea of integration now? So it is simply summation. Did you got the idea now? Please reply. Did you got the idea?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that's why we have put it phi is equal to surface. See here in the integration symbol, I have put a closed circle. What does it represent? It represents that surface is a closed surface, like a metallic sphere, like that. Okay, that surface is a closed surface. It's not open. That's why that circle symbol or is put on the integration symbol. So it is read as, you have to read like that, closed surface integral of E dot ds. Phi is equal to total electric flux. Phi is equal to closed surface integral of E dot ds. E dot ds is EDS cos theta, which is equal to Q by epsilon 0. So in simple language, Gauss's law in electrostatics relates the total electric flux with the charge. See, epsilon 0 is a constant. Surface integral E dot ds is the equation for electric flux. Surface integral, closed surface integral E dot ds is the equation for electric flux. So phi is equal to closed surface integral E dot ds is the equation for electric flux. And how it is related? the total electric flux is equal to Q by epsilon 0. It means that Gauss's line electrostatics simply relates the total electric flux passing through a closed Gaussian surface. That surface is called Gaussian surface. It is a hypothetical surface. Do you know the meaning of hypothesis? Hypothesis means we will guess something in order to arrive at a final theory. That is called hypothesis. The meaning of hypothesis is we will guess, G-U-E-S-S. We will guess something in order to arrive at a final meaning. That is the final theory. That is the meaning of hypothesis. Okay? Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now look at the first
Yes, sir.
statement of this Gauss's law in your notebook. See, that's why I'm reading each of the lines so that you don't want to get confused with any line. See, Gauss's law in electrostatics gives a relation between electric flux through any closed hypothetical surface. That hypothetical surface, when we are guessing a surface, why it is called? Because in the coming application of Gauss's law, you will came to know why it is called as hypothetical surface. Because for each application of Gauss's law, we have to imagine different shapes. Sometimes that shape of that Gaussian surface will be cylinder. Okay, it depends upon the material, the shape of that surface for which we are finding out the electric flux. Okay, so you will come to know why it is called a hypothetical surface, because for each surface we will imagine different shape of that Gaussian surface. We will imagine different shape. For a first one is called infinite wire. We have to find out the electric field due to an infinite wire carrying conductor due to infinite varying conductor. Okay, at a particular point. You have to find out the electric field at a particular point due to an infinite wire carrying conductor. Infinite means the length is very high. That's all, very large. That's all. So for that we will imagine a cylindrical surface. In the next application we will imagine a spherical surface. Okay, it depends upon the shape on the material for which we are finding out or for which we are applying the Gauss's law. That's why it is called a hypothetical surface. Means we will imagine different shapes of that surface. Therefore, it is called a hypothetical surface, and that surface is called a Gaussian surface. So Gauss's law in electrostatics gives a relationship between electric flux through any closed surface called a Gaussian surface and the charge enclosed by the surface. You look at the equation. That's why at the beginning itself I will show the equation. So instead of by hearting, please look at the equation. I by heart that equation itself and then expand that equation in the form of the law. That's all. Got it? So now it's always starting. Now you have to define the proper law. So what is the proper law? Phi is equal to Q by epsilon 0. That's all. For defining Gauss's law, you can simply remember this much only. Phi total. What is phi here? Total electric flux. What is vector E here? Electric field. What is ds here? Small surface area. What is Q here? Charge enclosed by the surface. What is epsilon 0 here? Permittivity of free space. So simply here phi is equal to closed surface integral. I told you how it is this term, how it is read. Integration, and in the middle of integral symbol we will put a circle. So it is read as closed surface integral because the surface is a closed surface. So closed surface integral of E dot ds. Phi is equal to closed surface integral of E dot ds. That is simply the equation for electric flux only, and that is related to Q by epsilon 0. And the epsilon 0 is a constant that is called permittivity of free space. I taught you what is permittivity of free space. It is how much a medium will allow electric lines of force to pass through it. How much any medium. So actually here it is permittivity of free space. So free space means vacuum. Nothing is there. Even air is not present. That is called vacuum or free space. So how much electric lines of force is allowed by vacuum? How much electric lines of force is permitted to pass through a vacuum or free space? That is called permittivity of free space. Am I clear? So actually phi is equal to this closed surface integral E dot ds is simply the equation for electric flux. So how that electric flux is related to the Q by epsilon 0. So it can be read as 1 by epsilon 0 into Q. So in order to writing the Gauss's law in electrostatics, you can simply remember this term only. Phi is equal to Q by epsilon 0 or 1 by epsilon 0 into Q. So it means that we are multiplying. It is 1 by epsilon 0 times the charge enclosed by the surface. Am I clear? Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
So then we can define from
Yes,
this.
sir.
Then look at the previous statement from the equation itself. So it means that Gauss's law in electrostatics. Please now listen very carefully. So this is very important law. In most of the final CBSE question, this one of the application or this Gauss's law may be asked. So important, very crucial. So this I will surely ask during the coming class test on Thursday. I will be putting the class test on Thursday, not on Wednesday. Okay. So then we can finish this chapter before that, if possible. So come on. Gauss's law in electrostatics states that the electric flux phi through any closed surface is equal to 1 by epsilon 0 times the net charge enclosed by the surface. Gauss's law in electrostatics states that the electric flux phi through any closed surface is equal to 1 by epsilon 0 times the net charge enclosed by the surface. I will repeat. See, while defining, please look at the equation. That's enough. Simply memorize the equation for writing the for by hearting or memorizing. You understand, right? Once understanding, there is no problem of by hearting. After understanding, you can by heart. Because while writing an exam, our memory power is tested. But while you are listening to the class, your intelligence is also tested. Got it? For understanding, intelligence is needed. But for writing an exam, both is needed. Intelligence as well as memory power is also needed. That's why I am telling for equations, we have to by heart. There is no choice for it. That's why I'm telling. Phi is equal to, for memorizing, simply remind this equation only. Phi is equal to Q by epsilon 0. Perhaps tomorrow when I ask, I will ask. Give the equation for Gauss's law. Phi is, you have to answer this much only. Electric flux phi is equal to Q by epsilon 0 or 1 by epsilon 0 times Q. So what is phi? Total electric flux through that closed surface. What is Q? Q, charge enclosed by surface. But while reminding an equation, you should remember each of the terms. Then only you can expand that law. Am I clear? Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Why
Yes,
I am putting this much of effort for this equation? Why? The reason is that you don't want to forget. You don't want to forget. That is my intention. Okay. So Gauss's law in electrostatics states that the electric flux through phi through any closed surface is equal to 1 by epsilon 0 times the net charge enclosed. Net charge means total charge. Okay. So simply you have to remember the equation. Phi is equal to 1 by epsilon 0 times Q. What is phi? Total electric flux passing through that surface. What is Q? Total charge enclosed by the surface. So we can define like this. Gauss's law in electrostatics that states that the electric flux phi through any closed surface is equal to 1 by epsilon 0 times the net charge enclosed by the surface. And then you have to write this equation. So when they are asking Gauss's law in electrostatics for 2 marks, you don't need to write the first this statement. This statement not needed to write. You only want to define this and give the equation. That's enough for 2 mark question. Don't write, don't waste for unnecessary statements. Please write up to the mark. Okay, if it is 2 mark question, please write this definition and please write this equation and write what is epsilon 0. That is more than enough for 2 mark or even 3 mark. Am I clear? Am I
Yes,
clear?
Yes.
So these are
Yes, sir.
previous CBSE questions. These are previous CBSE questions. I don't want to mention separately. So please, after this, you can put very important, underline this heading and make it as very important or put a star marking it as very important. Okay. So Gauss's law in electrostatics states that electric flux through any closed surface is equal to 1 by epsilon 0 times the total charge enclosed by the surface. And then you have to write the equation. Phi is equal to closed surface integral E dot ds is equal to Q by epsilon 0 or 1 by epsilon 0 times Q, where epsilon 0 is the permittivity of free space. And this is called a integral form of Gauss's law. Why? Because it is expressed in terms of integration. Therefore, this is called a integral form of Gauss's law. They may ask as an indirect question, maybe define integral form of Gauss's law. So don't confuse, don't confuse. See, it is there. Please, in your notebook, hard copy of this photo say not, please underline that statement also. Integral form of Gauss's law. Why? Because here the Gauss's law is expressed in terms of integration. Okay. So then we have to go for the proof. So we don't have enough time today, so we have to complete the proof. So we have to prove this equation. That is simply we have to prove that phi is equal to q by epsilon 0 using the integration also. So for that, we are considering, see, look at the figure. Let us consider the total flux through a sphere of radius r. See, we are considering a sphere. Say it's an imaginary sphere. It's a hypothetical. Imaginary. Hypothetical means imaginary sphere we are considering here. Okay, of radius r. Therefore, it is called a hypothetical surface. So, total flux through a sphere of radius r, which encloses a point charge q. Here it is imagining that this Gaussian. This is called the Gaussian surface. This hypothetical spherical surface is the Gaussian surface here, and a charge q is placed at the center of the sphere, and the radius of the sphere is taken as small r. Okay, so we have to find out the electric flux passing through the total spherical surface. For that, what we have to do, I already told you. For that, we will imagine a small sector. You have seen in this figure, right? It is called a small area element. We are dividing this sphere into small area element as shown in figure. Okay, we are dividing this total spherical surface into small area element of area delta S. Okay, charge q is placed at the surface. So, as we already know, what will be the direction of electric field here? The direction of electric field will be along the, see, the q is placed here, and you have to find out the electric field at the point here. Okay, so it will be acting along the direction of radius vector or along the radius of the spherical surface. Am I clear? The electric field will be acting outwards from that charge. That's all. So the direction of electric field is given by this arrowhead and is given as E here. Okay. And what is the direction of delta is here? Direction of delta is also in the same direction of the radius vector. Why? Because for considering a spherical surface, look at this spherical surface. See, this is the small area delta S. So when we are considering a surface delta S, the direction of that surface area will be normal or perpendicular. That you already know. Am I clear? Did you understand that point?
Yes.
So look at the figure. So time up, we have to finish very fastly. So we are dividing. So the electric flux, we have to find out the electric flux through the area element delta. So what is that electric flux? How we can find out? It is taken as through the area delta. The electric flux is taken as delta phi. So it will be E into delta S, right? The electric flux passing through the area delta S is E into delta S. As I already told you, electric flux is simply equal to the electric field. Why? Because electric field is electric lines of force itself. Am I clear? Because electric flux is electric lines of force, and it is the electric field itself. So, so electric flux passing through the delta S area will be E into delta S, right? So what is the equation for electric field? 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 into q by r square into dot delta S. But why this the unit vector came into picture? The unit vector represents the direction along the radius vector. As I already told you, the direction of electric field is along the radius vector outwards. Am I clear? It will be acting outwards from the charge q along the radius vector. So unit vector r represents the direction of radius vector. Here actually it is not E into ds, it is actually E dot ds. That is why unit vector r come into picture. But in the next step, we already know this unit vector r and the direction of the electric field, both of them are in the same direction. Therefore, E dot delta has become E delta S cos theta. And since the electric field and the direction of surface area are in the same direction, it becomes E delta S cos 0. And E delta S cos 0 is 1. Therefore, it becomes E delta S, and we can ignore r cap because the magnitude of that r cap is 1, and it simply indicates the direction. Am I clear? Am I clear? So the equation for electric flux becomes delta phi is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 into q by r square into delta S. Now it becomes delta S because in the previous equation it is E dot delta S, and E dot delta S is actually E delta S cos theta. But here the direction of radius vector as well as the direction of surface area are in the same direction, acting radially outwards. So it becomes E delta S cos 0, and cos 0 is 1. Therefore, it becomes E delta S simply. And what is E? 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 into q by r square. Okay. So next step is we have to find out the total electric flux by simple summation. See, total electric flux phi is equal to sigma sigma. The symbol sigma represents summation. See, sigma at the bottom of sigma, I have written all delta is. It means that we have to find out the electric flux. We have to add or take the summation of electric flux through each electric flux passing through each delta S area. I told you, you have to find out the electric flux passing through each delta S area and take the summation. That summation is given here. See, that is read as sigma of all delta S. It means that we are finding out the electric flux passing through the each small surface area delta S, and we are taking the summation, or we are adding them up. So sigma of all delta S, that is the meaning of sigma of all delta S of the previous equation. That is, what is the previous equation? It is 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 and q by r square into delta S, and that is written in as combinedly. That's all. That is 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 and q by r square is q by 4 pi epsilon 0 r square into delta S. Am I clear? In that, actually, the small r is the radius, which is constant, right? Small r is the radius, is a constant for a sphere. Therefore, q is already a constant. Since we are getting a charge q at the center of the sphere, it is also constant. We can q by 4 pi epsilon 0, we can take an outside of that summation symbol. So we have to simply take the summation of delta S only. So q by 4 pi epsilon 0 into r square into sigma all delta S of delta S. So we have to take the summation of delta S only. And what is the summation of delta S? Will be total surface area. I told you, we have to find out the electric flux passing through the each delta S, and we are taking the summation. And summation of all delta S will be, yes, the total surface area, yes. Okay. But now, as we already know, what is the surface area of a sphere? Because here we are considering a spherical surface. What is the total surface area of a sphere? Anyone, please tell. What is the total surface area of a sphere? It is total
4 by 3 pi r cube.
Yeah, it is volume, man. Volume. I am asking you the total surface area.
4 pi r square.
Yeah. There is written in the note. Look at that. The total surface area is 4 pi r square. Therefore, the equation becomes pi is equal to q by 4 pi epsilon 0 r square into, we are substituting the value here. Capital S is the total surface area, and the total surface area of the here we are considering a spherical surface. So the total surface area of the spherical surface is 4 pi r square. This 4 pi and 4 pi get cancelled. And r square also get cancelled. So the remaining is q by epsilon 0, and thus Gauss's law is proved. That is, pi is equal to q by epsilon 0. Thus Gauss's law is proved, which means that the total electric flux is equal to 1 by epsilon 0 times the total charge enclosed by the surface. So I am again reminding you, for defining Gauss's law, please use this, memorize this equation is seen now. That is Gauss's law. Pi is equal to q by epsilon 0, which means that total electric flux passing through the cross surface is equal to 1 by epsilon 0 times the charge enclosed by the surface. So we have stated Gauss's law and we have proved Gauss's law also. Normally they will ask these two together as an essay sometimes. State and explain Gauss's law. They may ask as a 5-mark question. Okay, you can write this question in your notebook also after this class. Okay, so after this class I will send you the scanned copy of next to application of Gauss's law, which is a part of this chapter itself. Okay, so see, please take printout and staple it along with this chapter itself. Okay, after that application only this topic, this chapter, first chapter of Gauss's electrostatics. What is that? Electric charges and fluids. That will be finished after that only. Okay, after that I will start electrostatic potential and capacitance. So my question is, did you understand today's class? Please reply. Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Anyone,
sir.
any doubt? Do I want to repeat because time is only 3 minutes. After that, I will be automatically logged out, so it will be very difficult to log in again. We don't have enough time. Please reply. Do I want to repeat?
No, sir.
Okay, I am happy. So I think everyone now understand. So, okay. Simply what we have done is simple idea. I will tell very fastly. You have imagined a surface. A charge is placed at the center. R is the radius, and the direction of electric field and the direction of surface area is the same. So the equation for electric flux is delta phi is equal to E delta S, and the value of electric field is 1 by 4 pi epsilon surrounded q by r square. Dot r cap only represents the direction of that radius vector. Okay, simply R cap is purposefully inserted in this equation to indicate the direction of radius vector. That's all. As already I told you, the direction of radius vector R and the direction of surface area are the same, normal to the surface and radially acting outwards. So what will happen? The R cap can be ignored in the next equation since it indicates only the direction and the value of magnitude of R cap is 1. Okay, so it becomes 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 into Q by R square into delta S. And then we have to find out the total electric flux. The total electric flux phi is obtained as sigma of all delta S. It means that we are finding out the electric flux passing through each small surface area, and we will take the summation of that. That is the meaning of sigma all delta S of Q by 4 pi epsilon 0 R square and delta S. In this equation, radius vector R is also constant. Charge Q is also constant. 4 pi epsilon 0 is a constant. So all of these terms are taken outside. So we have to only take the summation of delta S only, and the summation of delta S will give the total surface area of the metallic surface, sorry, the spherical surface, and the total surface area of the spherical surface comes out to be 4 pi R square. So we have to multiply Q by 4 pi epsilon 0 and R square into 4 pi R square, and 4 pi R square get cancelled in the numerator and denominator. So the remaining is Q by epsilon 0, which is the Gauss's law, which states that the total electric flux will be equal to 1 by epsilon 0, which times the charge enclosed by surface. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
So please study today itself. Now the class will be automatically logged out. After that, you can log in for next subject. Today itself, I will share the next scanned copy of notes. Please take print out as immediately as possible and start along with this chapter. Am I clear? And please study this Gauss's law today itself. Today itself. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, fine. So take rest, take relax, and
Thank you, sir.
prepare for, be ready for